Susan, based on your experiences, what do you see as the major challenges today for the current CIOs in the Department of Defense?
Thank you, Aaron. Yes, these are obviously extraordinary times, and it is really put some challenges on our current CIOs as we've gone forward. The one thing that I think about obviously is COVID. When it hit us, in one day, everybody flipped the switch and sent everybody home. And I know that Bill wants to expand on this because I was working in Air Force projects specifically, and being able to VPN in and still do real-time work in Safe Agile with our Scrum teams turned into a bit of a challenge, but the Air Force's response was amazing as we went forward. And that's kind of what I think about today. I remember when I was serving as the CIO G6, the challenges that we went through and trying to modernize our services was really critical at that time because we were still, in the industrial age and not the technology age as we were going forward. And then I retired and I went to work for industry. And I ended up telling people in a lot of speeches I gave, what I learned in my first 6 months as in industry, I wish I would have known when I was the CIO G6, because I would have done things differently. I was one of the hard stand individuals, had the Heisman hand up when it came to having commercial solutions. We were in two major combat operations at the time. I had to have the ability to control and extend the services all the way to that soldier, sailor, airman, marine sitting in Salerno, Afghanistan. And so I just couldn't see how commercial solutions could help me with that. Now I get into industry and I'm like, what was I thinking? Because the industry can do these things so quickly, have the massive resources to do the research and development of what is needed in a combat operation. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But I'm almost at the point today that I see everything as a service. Because when you think about the skill sets of the personnel and how fast our technology is changing and being able to reskill a team, the tools that change every day, it's almost in a large organization like the Department of Defense, commercial solutions are the real winner here for us.
You brought up an interesting point, which is the connection between the operational experiences that you gained, right, and the lessons of today. Bill, would you care to share your inputs as well? I think you have a unique experience.
Yes, and kind of to expound upon what Susan is saying as well, is that there's a couple dimensions that CIOs are always challenged with. Scale and speed is first and foremost in the mind. But when you put the scale, again, at that 2.x million users that we both lived the dream of supporting, right? You have to get the price point. And so this as a service mantra brings all of those elements together. Also, it starts to bring in the user experience at a whole nother elevated level. So no longer it's legacy, lethargic, oftentimes just not coordinated systems into platforms that can really drive that modernization, that digital modernization that starts bringing in legacy, starts uplifting your user experience, also reducing the cost. And to Susan's point, what I see now on the industry side that I thought on my government side that's really come true is this model is you really have to drive the true transformation to get there. At the scale we're dealing with, you have to fundamentally look at these platforms to really revolutionize a lot of the business practices. That's the only way you're really gonna get the scale and speed that you really need to get to. And then on the COVID front, I mean, the piece that always resonated with me was this, the government is really good about putting people on processes. We're not so great on using platforms to really accelerate and let the people do what uniquely people have to do. And so, again, these platforms have really accelerated our ability to deliver at speed, to bring a new user experience, and really drive an agility that frankly COVID needs, right? You left the Pentagon, you're working from home. So how do we start giving this self-service kind of process end to end? And frankly, if you don't have the platform, it's horrifically difficult. So I think end to end, kind of weaving all of that together, that's really the era we're in with respect to digital modernization. It's really a center core.
Thank you for that input from both of you. I think it's insightful, and you bring up some very valid points. And I think, current CIOs can really value the input that you're providing and the experience that you've had.